Okay, shout out to Tiffany. Thanks, Tiffany, for sending me a couple of emails telling me where with the links. Let's load this video, and this is a screenshot behind us. This will be jumping right into it, guys. The way I do it. Florida lawmakers work to balance safety and affordable with condos. This is coming out of Channel 10 Tampa Bay News. Let's let it roll.
Yeah, well, it's not just here in Clearwater, but condos across the state, there's been a heightened sense of...
All right, so I'll do my narrative. I'm just waiting for the images to come up. But I'm going to tell you now, they've undercut these columns with the concrete. It's oddly, it shouldn't be on a pad. I had a bad theory of that when I said it appears the way it's set up that it's on a pad. And I don't like the idea. Oh, great. I don't like the idea that it's on the way they did it. So no one would like the idea. Picture in picture. How's this work? Okay, maybe that works. I'll bring it over. Can I make it larger? And I can. So let's do this. So Tiffany said, yeah, you're right. They had a skid steer and they were bringing them out in slabs. Well, also they were using a jackhammer end saw. This is, when I press the screen, the lighting will change, I think. Back to tab. There's a punched hole over here. I'm trying to press play. Oh, play's down the bottom. There's a punched hole over there that is the wow, they're racing along. That indicates that it was it's probably a jackhammer they connect to the skid steer to help them put a hole in the pad, start lifting it out, use it as a pry bar basically also. Nobody has a small jackhammer to do a job like this. So Tiffany, this is one of your screenshots you sent me. Yeah, this is the parking garage before the, this is the garage before the demo work. And they're showing some roof shots right here, what it would look like. It's part of the report. It's nothing special that I can see in a small thumbnail image. But this one, on the other hand, is that they keep soft hitting this, saying that a contractor discovered it was cracked. This was not discovered cracked. This was made to be cracked. All right, this has been the concrete's been removed. The jackhammering of the concrete around it resulted in this cracked column. I don't know about this BS that everyone's trying to soft step this, saying that they discovered it. Well, there must have been somebody just came off the street and put a jackhammer to this underside of this column here and resulted in this failure. So it's a stranger danger. And then we have the grinding. They also brought a grinder in and they ground this corner. Again, this stone is flat. This was ground. All right, this is not just removal of the paint. This is ground. All right, grinding. All right, so there is some work that was done on this column, and so that means this column is significant. It's pointing to that they knew they had something going on with this column, and they're playing like they're just were doing the pad, the floor below. Well, this column, structural, as reported, is critical to this issue. Now, let's keep that. Remember at the bottom here how I showed that, really bothered me. It's not sitting on a pile cap. And I showed you what the pile caps look like. And here's your pile cap, something like this. Let's just do this. And then you have your piles. You have your piles that are driven down to a certain resistance, whatever they call for, surface tension down there, skin friction. And so now, and then you have steel in here. Okay, and then on top of that you have your pile. Now, someone told me that that damn Jeff guy did a video on this, and they told me to look at his content. The guy keep saying that he's an engineer it's like the computer guys. I know the computer guys are engineers. Well, Jeff's not a civil engineer. He's got nothing to do with construction engineering. All right, nothing, zero. And yet he's, letting you believe that by telling it to the public. And he doesn't have any construction engineering background at all. All right, from what he disclosed on his own video, a time before, which I have a copy of. He dealt with used cars and things like that. Remember that deal there? So I find it just amazing that he keeps putting up content just for money, obviously, or apparently, because he's not educating the public, because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's just, if it's not for money, then he should demonetize the content. All right, so you can see what happens here. You have a pile cap. But I don't think this exists. This is interesting if it exists. Let's delete this. If it exists, if it's a pile underneath of these in the background, and then this would be the floor. All right, so then your floor is here, and then they cut it back to here, and they cut it back to the other side, and then they took a jackhammer and came into here, undercutting this. When you undercut it, the load now is transferred to here, and it creates a buckle. It buckles, it's sheared. It buckled and sheared, and I showed you that with the other video. So then you have this buckle and shearing event going on. The shearing is what we look at when we're looking at this, and buckling is when we see it deform, buckling your legs, if you will. Now over here is how I know they're jackhammered. Now here's a magnifier. Let's look at what we have. Unless again, a stranger came in and did this, right? We got a column. We're looking at it here. They're replacing the floor. There's a saw cut here. Looks like a saw cut made over here. And then here it's jackhammer time, and you've got this ledge left. I don't know if that's rebar or not, but it looks like rebar back here and here. But here, this piece of concrete looks like it's been undercut with a jackhammer. So you hit here, it knocks out a wedge of it, and now this column is partially unsupported. We look here, so I've got to, I'm not slandering anyone, I'm just stating the facts as I see them. This appears to be reinforcement, rebar. Also concrete. It aligns with the floor that we have here. And then this will be floor, 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 floor. It presents as floor. This is a very nice clean cut here. This is a nice clean cut. And now here, all of a sudden, no clean cut. Uh-oh, hold on. It's automatically playing in the background. Let me, I don't know if I lost the rest of the content. Let's try that again. Let's let it play, and they get a free commercial on us. 8 seconds. So I'm pointing out the column thing. Let's get 4 seconds, and ad should go away. Okay. Let's go back to this.
Dives into how condo safety laws have changed and may continue to do so.
All right, condo laws. All right, so that's the image. One of the images we're looking at. So the owners, I know the owners, and you want to get back in there, but you need some honesty with what's going on here. What's going on here with this, with this whole progression of the repair, including the supports. I mean, this is on sand. It looks like they put a squash block there, made of 2x material, individual locations. And then this one is doing double duty. It's holding whatever's here, and then it has to hold the span from whatever is on the other end of that to on top of it. So this has got doing a lot of duty there, and yet I believe this is the cracked column that's now been identified with red paint. Really identified. Talking about the quality and everything else here, we've got a lot of jumping around here as if it's it's the qualities I would say is not there. We've got a lot of small debris that hasn't been policed up as they go along. You can see it here. This is after they stopped working. You got pads that just been flipped up. That's why we see this a lot of ruts. A lot of it's just been flipped up from there, and that rotates and gets this snow piling, if you will, of the sand. So it was there. They lift it up. It pushes sand forward, and you get these ruts, these dunes. It looks like some of them are here, so they just pick them up, throw them on top of each other, one or two, whatever it is, let them lay on top of each other. We've got scrap debris out here, here, here. This is not a very professional site. It would be dangerous as far as I'm concerned. Not very professional. Now over here we've got debris that's not been cut. This has been jackhammered, removed out. And then we have this piece here. See how it's missing the bottom section? If you were to drive a jackhammer in here, that could cone out the bottom end also like that. Looking to the right where I guess they were going to continue down here. I'm glad they kind of stopped, right? Because we have this column issue that they're, again, I believe, undermining. Let's go play. And again, there's the columns, and around that's the floor, I believe. That's the concrete floor. And this thing is, it's sitting on top of the concrete floor. It sits on top of it. It's not monolithic. It's the concrete floor is poured, and then we also have rebar in there though. So I don't know how they got the rebar in there. Whether it goes down to that one single pile or two piles, I don't know. If there's a pile underneath here, I would like to say yes, but I'm not surprised if this was a concrete floor and then they built on top of it. This is the 1980s. This was cowboy time, you know. It's roll it, keep going. And contractors often find ways to do deceptive work to save money. I would love to see, that what's going on there. I'd love to see it. There's the sand here, so that might be an entrance ramp for the tractor. Could just pile it up, make it easy to roll in and out, except for it would probably be a little more rut there. So, not too sure about that. So again, we have jackhammering here. Not just cut. We've got the guy going with the jackhammer. We have an elevated pad on this side. It presents as elevated pad. Now this is zoomed in from the photographer from far away, so this looks higher than this, but in reality they're probably the same height. We've got a shitload of debris. Look, here, just stockpiling debris, grabbing it, throwing up there, and they're going to come back with a bucket and take it with the bucket. So this tells me they've got probably one piece of equipment there that they have to switch out on. So it's kind of a budget deal. Not the best of the best, if you will, I don't think. And then we have these, this is your newer cone, and then two older cones, no names on the cones. So the company's like, not branded as much. And they have nothing signage stating who they are. So they're not bragging about who they are, which a lot of companies do. You brag about who you are when you're on these job sites, so you get more reputation, if you will. And no one's pointing out the sign of the contractor, so that's a red flag for me. Now here's the column, and then below the column we appear to once again see concrete pad under there. So it's like they built the pad first, maybe a pile under there, then a pad, and then this column. Now the seam here is at a different elevation. See how it's different elevation there? It's interesting, it's you would think that would be part of that pad. It's not though. It looks like that's a clean definition of it, or cleaner definition of it. I'm trying to get you an image to the right that you can't see in this big screen I'm using. And yeah, let's see if I can get that. right here is what I want to show you. So let's see if I can do this again. Well, that didn't work. Oh, screen on screen, I think it was, right? This one. And then now we're here. And it shows that it's a gap there. Right? It's not continuous. There's a gap at the base of this column. So again, I'm thinking that they poured the floor first, and then this column went on top. So jackhammering the floor out, you undermine the column load, the transfer of the load down to, I don't know, down to sand or down to piles, which you have your skin friction to help hold it in place down there. I'm sure they don't go down to whatever you guys got down there. I forget what it is, limestone, something like that. I forget the hell of it. Shell, whatever the heck it's called. So they were jackhammering their way over to it. As you can see, this is where it is. And I believe they got too close. They undermined it. But before that, someone did. I'm sorry, the guy off the street, I want to say, right? The guy off the street came with his grinder and ground that column down. And then they jackhammered around it, and, well, the guy on the street did. And there we have our problem. So should the contractor still be allowed to perform? Not without. Yeah, well, it's Florida law. Maybe they have a right to fix whatever they make a mistake on. But it doesn't seem like they're jumping forward. No publicity. No, they're not doing a public statement. So what kind of company is that doesn't do a public statement about what's going on here where they were working? It's just the news doing the carrying the water for them, saying that they found a cracked column. Well, it looks like a cracked column was created, again, by the person walking off the street coming here and doing this. So we have this indicator showing that this is not clean cut, that there was no proper probing of the depth of this to determine where the footers were. So how this was set up, or it was determined and people ignored it. We don't have that coming out from the engineer, not coming out saying, hey, we told them that not to stay away from that column. We don't have them throwing the contractor under the bus. So is the engineer overlooking this job and they dropped the ball? These engineers down in Florida, apparently, no offense to all engineers in Florida, but apparently you guys might be a little asleep at the wheel, or out of your depth. How about that, out of your depth? Whoever's in charge of this, assuming there's an engineer that was overseeing this job. Again, this would be like crazy scary at this point. You'd want to do a probe around the column first, at least one column, to confirm that these are pile caps. But as we see sand around each one of these, there was no probing, there was no identifying it, and the contractor didn't understand it. So it reveals more lack of knowledge, more knowledge about the contractor not having knowledge that he possibly could be undermining the columns. Now, not all of them are fully load-bearing, the entire building, but maybe they all are, but not all of them are fully load-bearing. Well, none is fully load-bearing. They just support their load that they support. They all can be critical, though, critical members. And I won't say fracture critical, but it's critical. So we get this pad cut, and then we get jackhammering, and now we get a reduction in the transfer of this column right here. It's loaded though, significantly loaded, and now this which left the remaining part to support this. And maybe they maybe it is that rebar maybe sticking out here. Maybe that rebar sticks out there when they give a little love tap on it, and it helps fracture this. That's just a thought I would lead to. You need to dig down and see it, but they're treating us like a mushroom. You know how you grow mushrooms, guys? You grow mushrooms by putting them in the dark and feed them shit, which is manure. So that's what I say some people treat you like a mushroom. they're treating us like a mushroom, the public, and especially the people that live there, getting treated like a mushroom. They told them they had 15 minutes to go into the structure and come back out. If you're told you have 15 minutes to go into the structure and come back out, let me tell you guys, you're a fucking idiot to go into that structure. You know, you ask the fire department to get your cat or whatever it is. And if you have to sign a waiver to go in there also, then don't go in there. All right, 15 minutes? No. No, you don't need what's in there that bad, do you? If I told you that, oh yeah, there's a high chance that will collapse in 15 minutes. Why 15 minutes? Why? Why do they need 15 minutes? If the shoring is all done correctly, then the shoring's done correctly. And they can stay in there overnight. And you're telling me that you're not sure about the shoring. You're feeling inadequate about the shoring. You don't have confidence about your shoring. And that's why you're telling them 15 minutes. Right? That's what it means when they tell you got 15 minutes. Obviously, if the shoring was if they had full confidence to the shoring, transferring the loads, they'd say, yeah, we're okay. Just stay off the balconies because our shoring poles are out there, and we don't want anybody touching them. So we would like to even go into each unit that you're going to be in there. We're going to put a lock on each door, so no one even can touch the shoring poles. So you would, especially lock each door and say, that's the rules we're playing by right now. Is that we need to for everyone's safety, we need everyone to give confidence. There's no drunk person messing with the columns with the shoring poles. We've locked each one out and monitor them also, of course. And then or that whole set, where all the columns are going up the side here. Put all those people up in a hotel. Now they can't use the unit at all, and you don't have to worry about anybody messing with the shoring poles. Wrapping this video up again with the critical importance of what we observe here. This looks like reinforcement that's been undermined from the support of this column. All right, undermined from the support of this column, and undermined. I don't want to say underpinned because you're not pinning it. So just so you know why I'm choosing that word. And it's odd. Here's a beautiful cut here. You want to look for an overcut here. I don't see an overcut here. So I don't think they have the chainsaw type of a concrete saw. I don't think this company we're looking at doing it. I'm also looking at if they scraped the wall with the saw when they were cutting, and I'm not observing any lines on that right about here where they cut the concrete. So they came right up to it and stopped, but this one has what it presents is like a little wedge. And then these things here, they're just undermined. Look at this. If only I had a closer image. So Channel 10 News, you want to reach out to me with some more photographs or data, I'll do a video for you. You can have at it. And thanks to Channel 10 Tampa Bay for the imagery. And thanks, Tiffany, for putting me wise to Tampa 10. There were some other images, the skid steer, concrete we talked about. But this one is the one that reveals so much, along with the debris and the general job site conditions, the lack of policing of all this debris. They just grabbed a piece of concrete, put it up top here, perhaps. As I grab it, pick it up, put it up top there. I don't know what this is. It looks like mapping of reinforcement, but that would indicate a stirrup. This one right here would indicate a stirrup is there, and this presents as stirrup.
We got lucky when it came to Hurricane Irma. And Hurricane...
Stirrup reverse. Risk averse. This is stirrup reverse. It doesn't like stirrups. I'm being facetious. No stirrups. Let's see. 1 second. Let's go to the column. I'm trying to fast forward. Interesting, the door is also a great indicator of what's going on. If you could see that all doors are closing, that would be telling you that the building square are racked. Still doing good. And so this also tells you they didn't have a dumpster, so they just went at it and started stockpiling material here. Yeah, United Rental, that tells you that maybe they're, unless they purchased it from United Rental, that tells you this company had to rent equipment, that they didn't own it. So it tells you this is somebody's equipment they're not used to, perhaps. All right, it's the, you really would have to look at this to make sure it didn't do any bumping. Also, you want to look around here and see if you see that jackhammer I spoke of, which I'm confident it's there. The pads, we can see that it's thick here and then less thick here. And that would be your reinforcement is kind of, it's close. And this means they put it on sand or on level ground. The ground wasn't perfect level or satisfactory level to make a consistently thick pad. This one looks pretty good. This one here looks pretty good. That one looks about the same. Again, over here, there is a punched hole, and that would be, I can't see it from this image. So they had some pads that they cut out. They're saw cutting these big ass pads, and then bringing them out with this, probably with just a bucket. If you're running this, you're not getting the forks. You're probably working with a bucket and scooping it up and dragging it over here and putting it on the ground. Yeah, that works better. Bringing the mouse out of there, didn't it? So this looks like a piece of rebar. So they cut it so far, and then they ripped this out, and that rebar was somewhere, well, it jackhammered it too because the rebar's not bent. Just looking at the pad thicknesses, ultimately these pads are very, this is not consistent. So I don't know where these pads were. Sections. It looks, pretty tight. It doesn't look like it's swelling or rush jacking the concrete off. So that's great. Swelling up and causing issues. So that's good news. Let's press play. Here we have the beach view. Pretty, isn't it? And the column numbering 49, 50, 51, 2. Okay, the back sides of the other numbers. So, or it's the other side of the parking lot. Maybe that's where they park. Well, it's kind of a weird number. Oh yeah, you would drive up to the beach so you would see it. We have this, the downspouts here. So they would be good indicators of telling us if the building's moving, because they would want to crack or move in their saddles, their connections. 1, 2, 3. Looks like every other bay. Is this the entrance for the handicap or something like that? Too? Looks like a little extra curb. Keep somebody from driving a motorcycle in there, maybe. That was the shoring. They rent it, maybe a shitload of shoring, and it comes in these little skids, and you use a forklift and you get it to there, and from there you start using them. You can put it anywhere you want. Your material, stockpiling materials anywhere you want. What the hell, Max? That's Max. You what'd you destroy, boy? What'd you destroy? Excuse me, Max. Move your ass. He's in front of the computer screen now. He's scared of whatever the hell he knocked down. I don't know what you knocked down either. Look out. Good boy. Go back in your window. So, let's see. No unattended vehicles. Drop off. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Right here. I'm not sure what's going on with up there. Not sure what's going on up there. All right, let's move on. It's probably low voltage wiring of some type. Yeah, so this is where they say that they discovered the crack. Discovered my ass. Somebody created this crack. Like I said, the guy walking down the street, you know, these people are so evil. And he bought his grinder. He ground this column up and then probably had a hard hat on. Made himself look like he's part of the crew maybe. And then he probably jumped in the backhoe, the skid steer. And probably did this. So that stranger danger probably did this, undercutting it. And there's in the background again. And then we have this, what we're looking at now. Stranger danger. All right. Again, that's ground. If it was not ground, and the paint was just removed, it would be a wire brush. You could do a wire brush, but you wouldn't get the flat stone. You would see paste. And this is flat. All these stones are made flat, so that's ground. And they just keep pussyfooting around this, saying it's just found this way. BS. This column was worked on. All right, it was structurally worked on. Was it structural? Why did they work on the edge? Why did they work on the edge? So I have a theory. The guy on the street, when he was operating the machine, he clipped the column. With his backhoe. With his skid steer, and then they ground it off to help. Excuse me. Oh, I gotta go, guys. Time for me to eat. So, love you and bye.